What is going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoundHound. Give you a quick overview of some of the data points, break it down on what is really moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So SoundHound is down 9.5%. It did have a nice spike first thing to roughly 23.80, the high. But as of right now, it does look like it is in consolidation mode, and it is getting hit fairly hard due to shorts. So I'm going to go over what really happened, what caused all this, and everything else that you need to know. But starting off, we did have a GDP that came out today better than anticipated. So actual 3.1, consensus leading into that was 2.8. So that's what gave a lot of kind of stocks generally a nice bump up first thing. But yesterday, the whole what Powell stated about potentially inflation rising to around 2.5, whereas it was previously forecasted to be 2.1 throughout 2025, that's what the market doesn't like to think about. But with PCE coming out tomorrow, that as well, if it comes in hotter than anticipated, you could see another significant pullback, not just with SoundHound, but across the board. So that's kind of what is influencing SoundHound and a lot of other stocks today. But as far as SoundHound today, no actual news. So it's kind of just stuck in limbo, plus getting somewhat manipulated, if you want to call it that way. But there has been a lot of these that has come out. So a lot of Form 4s and 144s. And I don't need to tell you guys, I don't like this. I've never really been a fan of this. But this isn't now the board of directors. This is actual executives. So this is the COO kind of looks like exercising a lot of their options. That is transaction code M, and then just selling it. So it's not great, but at the end of the day, this individual still does have 1.4 million shares, so a pretty good amount. So I think in reality, a lot of this selling can be somewhat excused. You have this individual who is a CPO, straight up selling, so no exercise or anything like that, just transaction code S right here. And at the end, they still have 754,000 shares. So in reality, I think that could be somewhat excused once again. And like I've mentioned already, the reason why you are seeing an increase in selling, not just with SoundHound, but a lot of other stocks, is because their blackout period is at the end of December. So that means they won't be able to sell for a month and a half. So they're just getting this in. So yeah. And on a side note, it is this right here, transaction code S. So it is not for tax purposes because that is a different transaction code. And all of this was also planned because you can see rule 10b5-1. So just be aware of that. Then this individual right here, another 277,000 shares being sold. So not the best, but in reality, even encumbering this, because it did come out after hours, market still drove it higher. So like I said, it did have a high of 23.80 today, but shorts. So right now, shorts are increasing 2.88 million shares. 26.57% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 87.27 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost of our average is 5.27. So shorts have been the pain. Even though SoundHound has ran up a lot, you still have shorts holding on for dear life. So this is a very unique circumstance. And as I kind of have mentioned, whoever is shorting SoundHound definitely does have deep pockets, because they have taken a probably like a $1.2 billion loss just in the last month alone. But when it comes down to what caused this right here, of course, 2 million shares won't do that. Shorts doubled the hell down. So at its peak, shorts were increasing 15.9 million shares. So very interesting stuff. That is exactly why it did go down as much as it did, because they just absolutely flooded SoundHound with just shorts. And in case you don't know, by shorts increasing, they sell first, buy back later. So it adds a lot of selling pressure. And yeah, if you kind of do that in a very fast motion, it triggers stop losses, then it just escalates the downtrend. So this is kind of a quick summary on what is happening with SoundHound. Plus, like I said, I think there is a lot of fear just about PCE tomorrow. So you already do have big money not really buying as much as they once were. So these are all the transactions that have occurred so far in the secondary market above $100,000. So you still do see a good string of buying right here, string of selling, a lot more selling than normal, but I think in general that could be somewhat just linked to that PCE kind of scenario. So this is a very quick summary of what is happening. A lot of people have been kind of DMing me asking if SoundHound is a squeeze play. Is it going to squeeze and when? I feel no stock will ever squeeze unless you have a catalyst, because essentially for a squeeze to occur, you need 4 things. Just on a fun side note, you need a high utilization, a fairly high cost to borrow, and a lot of shares being shorted. So a lot of stocks kind of hit those criterias, but one thing that they always do lack is a surprise catalyst. So if SoundHound was to come out and say, hey, we got McDonald's, or we got, I don't know, another big name, or let's say even Tesla, for instance, then yes, essentially you will have a very good surprise and prompt a squeeze. So that is where you could see significant gains, but honestly, I think a squeeze would be very exciting, but I wouldn't hold my breath for it because it is very hard for that to happen. I feel like something big is coming with SoundHound, as what was even brought up during the last fireside chat with Barclays, but timing, it's hard to time that. So in essence, I like to look at more technicals. I'm not sure if you guys can tell that or not, but 67 million in calls, 24 million in puts, 47% of all the options being done today are bearish in nature. So this is the first time in almost like 2 weeks that you are seeing some bearish options, and that is following yesterday's record high $174 million in premiums. So absolutely insane money getting into SoundHound. So pretty good stuff. Of the call options that are being purchased, though, you still see a good consensus for it to be above that $22 range, and even 25. Aside from that, it's still a lot at that 30 for the next couple of weeks. So whether that comes to fruition or not, we'll just have to wait and see. Of the bears that are buying puts, you can kind of see that they are anticipating for it to be sub anywhere from 17 to 20. Not really much, I guess, consensus for that. So let me know your viewpoint on what might be coming. Of course, with tomorrow being Friday, you'll really want to look at the open interest. So shorts will have a financial benefit as well as market makers to bring it below a lot of these key strike prices. So just take a mental image of a lot of this. But aside from all of that fun stuff, with it at $18.43, it is trading right below this R2. So more of a technical breakdown a little bit further, but 1847 is going to be that key one that you really want to watch for it to close in the next hour. $17.38 and then 15.63 are going to be key support levels that you want to watch for SoundHound. Flip side, $20.22 and then 24.81 will be the next strong kind of targets for SoundHound to really move higher. So it is all going to come down to PCE tomorrow, and that's no joke. The market is literally going to either recover in a very positive way or break, similar to what happened on Wednesday based on this data tomorrow. So just be aware of that. But on a side note, no new analyst ratings, nothing along those lines. As far as on a technical standpoint, today it is obviously kind of just breaking down, consolidating below the ALMA. So again, I think that's also feeding off of the fact that SoundHound is rather overbought. You can tell that based on the stochastic RSI. That's been one thing I've stated, is the fact that it is overbought. So you're going to see a lot of volatility, especially SoundHound has gone up quite fast in a short time period. So the fib levels, so support and resistance points, are pretty wide. So just anticipate continued volatility in the foreseeable future. But this $14.96 kind of pivot right here, that is a absolute make it or break it with SoundHound. So if it is able to kind of stay above that, then yes, in theory, you could still see more upside coming after it does consolidate. But if it does break below that, then this is where you'll have the algorithms working against SoundHound, trying to bring it down. So in the short term, just take note of some of the strong support and resistance points and all the other fun jazz. So yeah, I think all in all, SoundHound is going to do something very, very amazing in the foreseeable future. So whether you're buying now or later, just think bigger picture. That's kind of my 2 cents, of course. So let me know your thoughts on SoundHound. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. What's your viewpoint on insider selling? I know I ask that quite a lot. Some people like it. Some people don't feel it's a big deal. But again, I think it does really affect the sentiment behind the scenes. But overall, what's your viewpoint on all of that? And then one final thing I just wanted to share with you, though. I did launch a Patreon, as I'm sure some of you have been aware of, where I give buy signals on stocks, options, than crypto. Many of them have been absolute bangers, where I even did up my target for SoundHound to be $23, and lo and behold, that's kind of where it hit. I haven't given an updated one since then, but I'm just waiting for PCE data just to come out, just to see exactly where the market and what big money is really thinking. And so once that does happen, then I'll give a new updated price target, whether it's bullish, bearish, at least in the short term. So let me know your thoughts, and definitely pop over to my Patreon and take a look at a lot of the buy signals. With all that, appreciate all of you guys watching.